Tonight's episode is sponsored by We Create Branding. We Create Branding is a printing company located in Freeport. They specialize in apparel, houseware, and promotional items. They also supply wholesale and retail printing. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram, We Create Branding, or call or WhatsApp at 284-6398.
Marriage isn't that beautiful thing that people want to make it out to be. I mean, it's the nice parts and that's good to highlight, but it is like twisted love because it's hard times, it's bad times, it's seeing somebody at their lowest, seeing somebody at their best. So you literally have to make a choice to be committed to that person through whatever you're going to navigate.
I concur. No, I really do, because for as much as there was intention in regards to us saying to each other, hey, we're looking for marriage at the end of this, there was never any rush talk about marriage. There wasn't any, I hoping that within 5 years of this relationship or 3 years of this relationship, we will get married or whatever the case is. It was never that. But it was that understanding that, hey, we don't want to be wasting each other's time. Even if we don't last, we don't want to be wasting each other's time. And that was where we were at. And especially for me, being someone that started their own business and whatnot, I started to realize, and not everybody likes to hear this, especially Christians, but I also started to realize that marriage, outside of the love aspect, outside of the butterflies, marriage is a business also. Facts. There's an understanding that you are building
Big facts.
something here. You're building something here. Am I willing to make this person my business partner?
Facts.
You understand?
All right, guys. So, another episode of Like Minds podcast, and today we always have special guests, right? So, this episode we have Mikhail again, and we have Kidi again, right? Kidi. All right. Sorry about the names, right? But you'll see the names pop up on the screen and whatnot, right? Now the episode today is titled, you could say, Trials of Marriage, for better or for worse. I don't know. We will give some fancy title, but it's along the lines of marriage, right? Now, these two guests here, they are married couples, young couples, millennials, and they are going to share some experiences with us on marriage, right? The moderator today is Akid Vidal. He's also not a married person. But he's, I guess, will be there one day, just like myself. One day, right? So take it away, Akid.
Yeah, so before we dive into like marriage life, in a sense, we want to start off with what are some questions you need to have with your significant other before you get married. So what are the questions you would have with that person? If you consider,
I don't know if particular questions are what I would ask, because people could always say certain things. You'll ask and they'll give the answer that you might be looking for. But what I would say is observe their behavior, observe the things they say in unguarded moments, because that is what tells you true character, because you're not going to get that person 24/7 in a marriage. You're going to get the regular self, the bad, the good, the ugly. So you want to observe the person's behavior. Look at what they do and not what they say.
I agree. I mean, for me, in the dating game before marriage, it was always, so what you like, what food you like, what's this, that, and the other. And I guess God knew, that this is the person you're going to be with, because when I met my wife, both of us were bold with each other and we were blatant and we were like, hey, we here for marriage. If you're not here for marriage, let me know, because if I just want to have fun, I could tell her I just want to have fun, but I want marriage at the end of this, and this is what I like, which is why I don't like. Because I think for both of us, it was kind of like you reach a point where you're like, yeah, I'm young to a degree, but I really don't have the patience and the energy to go back in this dating thing and be all nicey and whatever. And doesn't mean that, yes, you'd be lovey-dovey, you have the butterflies, everything, because it's not like we weren't feeling that, but it was all about observing each other in, your natural habitat, seeing how you react to certain things and what you do, and that in itself informed you as to, yeah, all right, I could live with you. I could go through this with you.
The reason I ask this question is because in this generation we have this like preconceived notion from those Disney movies now. Like you meet that person and boom.
Why people hating on Disney so much?
Disney's are
because they sell us a picture that is not really real in a sense.
Yeah.
They feel
Selling
like you
real
just meet
dreams.
and then that's the person I'm going to meet.
Happily ever after.
Because you have a lot of people right now who think that way, that they're just going to find that person and it's just going to click from there. So I just want to know, like, do you have that instant where you be like, yeah, this is the person I'm going to marry, or that instant where you be like, okay, I could take that person serious and we could go and look on that level.
What is this? For me, okay, I want to be honest. For me, when I met my husband, honestly, I did not have any idea that we would be married. Not that he wasn't a good person from the beginning or anything like that, but it was just something of, I didn't expect it. And as we were going along, as you said, you realize, okay, wait, we could actually do this seriously. But he was very intentional, because from the beginning, he was like, I want to get married. I was like, Mr. Man, slow your roll. And as we going along, he was always very serious about it. And then I was like, okay, you know what? You have proven to me that we could do this, so I'm going to take you seriously and let us make that step towards it. But it was not a instantaneous love at first sight.
Real movie thing.
The heels go up in the air, you kiss and it's fireworks. So it wasn't anything like that. But I think that marriage is a choice, and to be in love with somebody is a choice. And that might not make sense, but it's a choice, because
No, that makes real sense.
It's literally a choice, because those feelings and that fairy tale part of it, which you will get, is not the reality of marriage. Marriage isn't that beautiful thing that people want to make it out to be. I mean, it's the nice parts and that's good to highlight, but it is like twisted love, because it's hard times, it's bad times, it's seeing somebody at their lowest, seeing somebody at their best. So you literally have to make a choice to be committed to that person through whatever you're going to navigate.
I concur. No, I really do, because for as much as there was intention in regards to us saying to each other, hey, we're looking for marriage at the end of this, there was never any rush talk about marriage. There wasn't any, I hope in that within 5 years of this relationship or 3 years of this relationship, we'll get married or whatever the case is. It was never that, but it was that understanding that, hey, we don't want to be wasting each other's time. Even if we don't last, we don't want to be wasting each other's time. And that was where we were at. And especially for me, being someone that started their own business and whatnot, I started to realize, and not everybody likes to hear this, especially Christians, but I also started to realize that marriage, outside of the love aspect, outside of the butterflies, marriage is a business also. Facts. There's an understanding that you are building
Big facts.
something here. You're building something here. Am I willing to make this person my business partner?
Facts.
You understand? For them to know exactly every dollar that comes out of my pocket or goes into my pocket, they need to know that. And sometimes also, in business, is not to be shady or anything of the sort. It's not that. But sometimes money passes. And it's not for every single human being to know that, hey, the money passed to pay for this, that, and the other, whatever. You do it legally and all of that. You understand? But there's that understanding that it's not everything that needs to be shared, right? And then a lot of times, yes, there's full transparency as to every single thing that is done. So it sounds like a contradiction, but no, sometimes certain things you have to take it to God. I remember my mom telling me plain as day, she said, Mikael, it took me the first 4 years of our marriage, me and your dad's marriage, to really come to terms with some things I go to God with and not my husband. Some things he goes to God with and not me. And I of myself have to be comfortable with that, knowing that is not every single minute detail. You're sharing the innermost parts of you, but it's not every minute detail you're going and share. Sometimes you have to leave that to God. You have to leave that for God. You understand? So I concur, and that's just my addition to it too.
Okay.
That's it or something.
Yeah, I not married. I just taking the counsel there because as I say, I like to see young marriages not just in it for the gram, you know, but actually talking about the low points and the high points, and showing that, hey, it's not a fairy tale, but we pushing through now, boy. Because my understanding, and I agree with you 100%, where you choose to love that person. I don't believe in fall in love. Fall in love, where's that? You understand? Seriously, you choose to love that person, and you choose to make it work with that person. And as Mikael said just now there, with it being a business decision, like, hell yeah, my wife is my CFO, my COO of my company. Serious talk, who else I want to be manning it when I'm not there?
Yeah.
You understand? Like, serious talk. So when you said that, I say, amen, I'm in the right circle. You understand? Don't worry, all you come the wedding one day. You understand? No, because it's a serious thing, and I'm really glad, because I didn't know Kadim from anywhere except through Ghibli. Name correct, right?
Yes, it is.
Amen. I'm bad with names now. Anyway, yeah, I didn't know you outside of True Kibwe, but I trust his judgment, and so far excellent, because you're being real, and I appreciate that. And same thing with Mikael, you're being real, because we watch, you know, everybody always have this thing called couple goals or relationship goals, and you never see no wrong. Everything, sun always shining, no gray clouds. You understand? And when you know watching that and jump in a relationship, you expect it to be like that. And when it's not like that, I'm not happy. Let's end. Think.
And that is why divorce rates are real high.
Very high, yeah.
51%.
Yeah, exactly. More than half. Well, imagine in the States, I'm not sure about the Trinidad stats, but more than half the marriages, so 50, as you say, 51% of marriages end in divorce within 2 years. Make it make sense.
Make it make
You
sense.
understand? So all they ready for a wedding, but they're not ready for the marriage. You understand?
I saw someone, I was watching, there's this church that's watched online called Social Dollars, and you like Social Dollars. And the pastor was talking about marriage goals. They're doing a series on that right now, and he was talking about their engagement picture when they got engaged, and he was saying people like the picture and they love the story, and he said, but this picture is 10 years of me not wanting to commit to this woman.
Wow.
Behind that picture that you're seeing. So it's not what you see on the gram, because people, it's real people. Well, you know, Will and Jada was goals, and now the business. Will and Jada was goals. Now the business on the street is not goals anymore, but this is real life. This is people as we going through stuff in their marriage behind the scenes, and you know, people shouldn't be so quick to, you know, idolize these couples, and they see the money and the clothing and the cars and goals. No, because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So.
I don't know if it was the pessimistic side of me to a degree, but couple goals was never a thing for me, you know, for Hollywood or anything. I don't know if it was because of me just understanding some of these are PR marriages, some of these, it's Hollywood, so somebody gonna divorce at some point or whatever. I don't know if it was just the pessimistic side of me, but I never viewed anybody, and I love John Legend and whatnot, but I still didn't even view him as, well, okay, cool couple goals because he got married. So I was just happy for you and whatever. And for me, I just approached my life in a way where I'm hoping that yes, I can be an inspiration to others, and my marriage can be an inspiration for others also. But at the same time, that is not the. For me, it's about covering my family as best as possible and guiding them the best way possible. For me. So that's why you'll never see a ton load of pictures of my daughter. You'll never see a ton load of pictures of me and my wife. It's not because I'm hiding anything. We've been bold about our relationship, about our marriage, everything. But it's not about the taking out pictures and post this today. It's like, no, I had to live. When I come home, I want to make sure my wife's smiling. I don't want to make sure she's smiling just for the camera. You understand? If my wife not smiling with me when I come home, I'm doing something wrong.
Pressure in the camp, yes.
Pressure in the camp.
No more kids. No, but okay. I can't contribute much. I'm not married. I just listening.
So on to the trials. I know you didn't have a specific story that you like to. Well, we had you on here first. I'd like to tell it then.
My husband, he got into a motorcycle accident. It's 2 years now. Losing track as I'm here. 2 years ago, and he lost his leg. Well, immediately on the spot. And
I mean, so that's all. What do you guys do?
Oh, he's a police officer. He used to ride motorcycle for the police service.
Okay.
And he was coming, and it's so like eerie, but he was for like 2 minutes from coming off of duty. He was just like to turn the corner and get back into the base where they were, and he right on the corner. As he turned the corner, his bike took a skid and he hit a lamppost. It flipped him over onto a railing, and it cut his foot off immediately, completely off on the spot. Well, he just gave the details of his own. That's his own testimony. So I wouldn't go into all the details of what he went through. But I was pregnant at the time, and when I say pregnant, I mean
how much months?
I mean like
Belly
pregnant.
Water
I picked up the phone to call him to tell him, you need to come down the road because this child is coming out today. And someone else answered and said, yes, this is PC, WPC, whatever, I can't remember. And she said, Smith got into accident. I was like, I am in labor and you making sugar jokes. I can talk to my husband, please. I need to speak to him. She's like, no, ma'am, I would not make no joke like that. And she told me you got into accident. Now she didn't tell me what happened.
Yeah, because I'm Martin.
Because when I tell her I'm in labor, I talk about I walk 2 steps. Walk 2 steps. So they called me and they had a very clever way of getting me up to the hospital. I in San Fernando. I drove up to Mount Hope. No, I didn't drive. Sorry, I was driven. And all the while I saying, Lord, don't let me make this child in this man vehicle, please. So I went up and I got to speak to him. They told me what happened, and when they told me he lost his leg, they said he lost his leg, but he don't have any other injuries. And when they said that immediately, the weight that I was feeling, it left. So I felt at ease because I say, okay, thank God, because if he don't have no other injuries, that means he's not going to die. So he alive still. Yeah. So I went, I saw him, I prayed with him, and I went directly into labor and directly and
Jeez,
just
again.
I was literally in labor. So I just prayed with him and went immediately and had my son. His name is Aidan Jeremiah Mercy Smith. I made him the same night that my husband got into accident, but that was just the story to give people the perspective. And we had to navigate now a whole new situation because
dynamic.
And a completely new dynamic because now he lost his leg. And well, the beginning was very tough because I just made a child, so I'm going through postpartum, and he is unable to do anything for himself really. So I don't know if
you had to be strong for the two of y'all.
Yes, thank God I had like an amazing support system. Like my pastor, she called and she prayed with me, and I don't know if anybody ever experienced the peace of God, but it just fell on me like nothing else. Like, I just felt complete peace over me. I didn't have to worry. I didn't cry. I didn't fret. I didn't do nothing. I was just calm. And if you know me personally, I was a cry baby.
Oh,
so everybody was like, Kadeen, how you went through that? How you went through that? And I was like, the peace of the Lord reign on me like nothing I can explain. And I just went through it by the grace of God. So that was my story. But we had all these ups and downs now to navigate because we in a completely new situation.
Okay.
But the reason why I like your stories because and why your friend told us your story, it was like in certain situations the woman would have been like, I need to find a way, I need to do something different, get an ex-man or something like that.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you, because everyone is asked that and is feel crazy to me because that's not an option. That was not even in my mind to think. That was never a part of where that come from. Everyone keeps asking, but that was never a part of the equation. That was never a thought. That was never up for discussion.
You see, I don't know, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but from my gathered after, I just heard the paraphrase version from people. But it's clear to me that you take the vow serious because that is clearly for worse.
But that's what I'm saying, but I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm confused because this is what we sign up to do. So how
But
now if you get an accident, I go and say, okay, you have 1 foot now, so bye. That don't make sense to me. That could never make sense.
Nah, but I really applaud that because people just break up for less.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Well, that's facts.
people just break up. You can carry them shopping for 2 months. You understand? I telling you, I seen it. Like whole marriage mash up because you're not treating her like a spoiled brat. So, yeah, so it. When I heard that and I heard it local too, I said, nah, boy, didn't even have to come here. Because it, to me, in your 20s, right? You don't have to say
20. I'm fine.
Oh.
25.
25.
I'm a baby.
Wow.
I know that 25-year-old girl was sporting.
Yeah. Our next 25-year-old said, nah, my whole life ahead of me. You know, I'm a bad bitch. Sorry for the language, you know, and I'm gone. You know? No, but I respect that. And what's your husband's name?
Shane Smith.
You gave me who last name too. Anyway, but yeah, Shane, you have a good one, man. You have a good one. And I really wish all the best.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really hard out here. Like not just woman, but man too, you know. Supportive spouse now home. So when they really have a good one, a God-fearing one, yeah, they try and make things work, and clearly you're doing that. Yeah, but keep it up. Anthony, Mikael, talk to us.
Your trials, or one of a big trial
in the marriage.
I wouldn't say that there's something as
You can compare.
I can't, and it's not competition, so it's nothing to compare with or anything. But for me, it's a daily process for us. Because when we first got married, or I should take it to the first concert we went to, a gospel concert we went to, the artist that came down, and about the name dropping thing, so I'm not going to say it. But the artist that came down, they ran off of the stage and started praying over me in that concert. And I remember breaking down immediately after that concert because what they prayed was exactly what I was praying for literally the day before. So I broke down in front of my now wife, then girlfriend, and that was the first time we went to like a concert, like saying, okay, we're going to go to a concert as boyfriend and girlfriend. And we joke about it now. She was like, in that moment, she was like, God, I don't know what you're doing right about now, but why is this boy crying in front of me? And she of herself too started to shed some tears because she was like, she could see, as she told me, she could see, you know, a passion there for God and for his love. And immediately questions that she was asking started to be answered. And then over time, as we mentioned earlier, observing your reaction and your behavior to situations and just to life in general. So that was what was happening for us. And God wasn't playing around. For us, we saw each other at our best and at our worst. We had a serious argument as boyfriend and girlfriend when I was dropping her home at time. And literally, when I tell you serious to the point where I was like, go your way. I pray my way or whatever. And funny enough, we laughed too at that because there was a security guard there, and then he just saw, okay, where we kind of took a deep breath, and we came back and we started to talk. We had a bench used to have a bench near where she lives, and we sat and we talked and whatnot, and he just shouted out, he said, yes, we'll get up. You understand? And for us, we laugh at that now, but it was just those things, those life situations where you're like, okay, God, I'm clearly seeing this person is the one for me. And when we got married, first year marriage was tough. As much as we showed each other our true colors as best as possible, the saying is still true. See me and live with me. Two different things. It is. When we started living together, that was where we saw like, all right, okay, if I say this or I do this, I know that's gonna happen. If you do this, and it was that, and I hold no shame in saying it because I think this is the right platform, and because of 5 years of marriage, I think I can say this, and I don't try to be any sort of relationship guru, but I had to delete the word divorce from my mouth.
Yes.
Sorry that I may hurt people by saying this, but for me, when it is we first got married and got in our first big argument, I said, well, go your way. I was like, well, you want to go. You understand? I was like, I ain't touching you, I ain't doing nothing. If you want to go, you go. And she was like, all right, well, if that's the case, so and so. And we literally couldn't find ourselves walking to the door though. So we had to sit down there
and figure it out.
Yeah. Because both of us weren't walking to the door as much as I was shouting it. And over time, it had to be a conscious decision and understanding that, hey, even though you don't mean that word, don't say it. Delete it out of your vocabulary.
It's our power too,
Delete it out of your vocabulary. And that was what I had to do. Both of us are now to reach to the point where we don't use the word broke.
Good.
Like if the money not there, it hit my bank account here.
Good, very good.
But the word broke is not in our vocabulary.
Yeah, you can't call that on yourself.
You understand? It's not. So it was learning to delete certain words from our vocabulary, learning each other, along with when our daughter came into the picture.
It's a whole different story.
That pregnancy period, having to be patient with your wife because your wife is in that emotional state also. You understand? That is like, yo, Jesus, and then her also having to realize for herself, hey, yeah, I kind of went a little extra there. I apologize. This, that, and the other.
Yeah, a good one.
No, having to come to that conclusion. So to me, the trials are honestly the everyday aspect. Okay. Especially like, as mentioned in the previous episode, COVID-19.
Facts.
And what it has done to my finances.
Right.
And my wife being the one to say, okay, I understand. Both of us shedding tears when we have to shed tears. Both of us praying when we have to pray. But still being in this because at the end of the day, for better or for worse.
Facts.
For better or for worse.
That's true. And I like how both of you all have God that is centered in your marriage, and that is a good thing because our generation, we don't really lean on God when it comes to those relationship problems. We'd always say we'll go by our friend or we'll go by our mother or father, but something I heard Steve Harvey said that you can't, relationships, once you are married, it's between you and your husband. You and your husband and God. You cannot really bring people into your marriage problems, and I find that is very prevalent in both of y'all. So I'll applaud y'all for that.
Because as I said, this is a fictional show. and one of the most controversial shows, Acrimony, right? Now, when that when that breakup happened, notice the catalyst for the breakup was when the sisters and their husband jumped the scene. You understand? Yes, the man was a deadbeat at that point, but the reality is he still had a brilliant idea that eventually blew up now. But had those people do like what Patricia said, drink their water and mind their business, nothing would have caused that relationship there, né? And now we understand she was fed up because it was basically 2 decades that she fighting up with this man. Obviously, everybody has their breaking point, but at the same time, that was the worst, sad to say, because look how great the better came, and sad to say she couldn't enjoy the better. I'm not blaming, not pointing no fingers, or they don't fight me down in the chat. Well, they don't know my perspective on that. I agree with the man. Anyway.
If I could add to that before we go on,
yeah, go.
I believe that to a degree, and that's a very small, minute degree, family plays a part in terms of helping you sustain or carry out in your marriage, right? And there are times where, yes, their advice is beneficial. Their experience is a great thing for your marriage. However, what is applied to friends when it comes to if it's not somebody that isn't married, I ain't really taking no advice. Doesn't mean that they don't have good advice, but I'm not really taking 100% everything they say. It applies to family too. If it's family members who not married,
Don't listen to them.
who don't have the experience, why am I sitting here allowing you to come into this particular situation that needs an outside voice to say and give advice when it is you have no experience? And not to say that you're not thinking logically or anything, but you do, it's like going to a job, the job wants you with experience, so I can't really.
I'm single. People keep people single.
That big line. Serious talk. You see, actually, let's give little points I can't talk here. It's not my platform. I listen.
Another thing with that as well, like I would say that I had a learning curve with that because, like, me and my mom extremely close, right? Because I'm her only child, and she wasn't married or anything, so it was just me and her in the house together. And she had me at a young age, so I say like we basically kind of grew up together, so we're extremely close. And when I got married, I had to learn to stop telling her certain things because when I tell her, and I said, Mommy, she ain't do so and so. When I watch, she watching, she ain't so. Saying, but she watching the man so and he's saying, yeah, don't feel like I know you're telling me that because she watching my cut eye. And I say, you know what, ma, I can't tell you nothing because you're watching the boy cut eye. So I had to learn, okay, it's not every little thing you need to go and say, okay, this or okay, that. Or when I overwhelmed sometimes with my husband, I'll do? I'll go in my room, I'll cry it out, I'll put on some worship, I'll worship, I'll go down on my knees and pray because you cannot carry every little, it have aspects, as he said, where an outside voice is needed, but not every little thing is to go and tell your friend, my husband do this and my husband do that, and no. It had none of that because they watching him in a bad light. You
kind of making him look bad.
Yes, you're making a bad representation of him when in reality, it didn't probably go so anyways. You probably was overreacting to begin with, and you're making your husband have a bad image by keep constantly telling people stuff. So I had to learn that the hard way in terms of it's not every little thing you need to go and talk.
That's true. Next question is that outside of God, we all know God is the head and everything. So outside of God, what is the most important part of marriage?
Sex.
Okay. Hear me, okay? You're talking like my husband.
Of course, what that is.
No.
I'm not even married and I know that one.
I mean, all right. You're on the list. All right, God, sex, communication. if we want to give it a list, God, sex, communication.
It's all the communication thing.
Communication.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, no
I don't
problem.
think you're wrong.
After sex, where you don't really need to talk about anything anyways. Have the issues done resolved. So, no, but I would say for women, I think, well, I'm going to say for women. I can't speak for all women. For me, like communication, because
Above sex?
like we don't rank it now, but communication. Because sometimes it might have, like, in my marriage, sometimes we have an issue and I lie down really nice and I like, this man. I'm not going to see facts. It's maybe a small issue. If it's big issues, we know is everything have to stop. We need to deal with it. A small issue, I see this man. And I beat it up myself a little bit and he coming. And I like, you really trying to, and you see what you do me and you don't want to talk about it and you want to. So for me, I'm a person where I need it addressed. I need to say, okay, yes, I know I'll give you a little attitude. I'm sorry. And everything good after that. But I need some communication. Communication first.
Fair point.
That's nice. How have you grown since your first year of marriage? I know he talked about his first year of marriage. How have you grown since then?
Understanding each other's love language. At first, I really viewed it as, somebody likes this more than that, whatever the case is. But really understanding or growing to understand love language. And even in understanding that, knowing that you're not always going to get it right. Because there are times for me, I am a workaholic, right? And I don't promote it like, oh my gosh, yes, be that workaholic or whatever the case is. But as somebody who, I guess, self-proclaimed workaholic, I have to then remember, hey, I still have my wife.
Yeah.
You know, I still have to go and communicate with her. I still have to go and give her what she desires in order to give me what I would like to also have. You understand? And then now when you have children in the mix, you have your child. And your child is not your wife. They clearly come to you and say, Daddy, Mommy, hug. Daddy, Mommy, lift up. Daddy, Mommy, food. Daddy, Mommy, this, that, and the other. So you have to know, hey, okay, if it is a bit too much, they're coming, and you're not doing what you're supposed to do as a parent, you have to push pause and say, hey guys, or whatever, give me a couple minutes or hours, and you do what you have to do. You give that time that is necessary to your significant other so that there is growth. So I think if to add to what was already mentioned and what you asked, it is the understanding of the love language and also applying it. You know, sometimes we say we understand it, but we don't apply. There's no application of it to really grow with each other and become closer.
I'm glad you said that, because not deviating from the question, but focusing on what you said, is like people think that you find out your love language before you get married or something, but you're saying it before you learning as you going on now. So that's kind of eye-opening.
Yeah, because I mean sometimes some people know and learn each other's love language and whatnot before. Okay, bravo to you, happy. You know, and I'm not saying that in a sarcastic way, but then in my situation, I understood love language and I read a lot, but I still never applied it. I never tried to really grasp what it meant for my wife. You understand? My wife lost her dad at 12, and TV time was something special for her and her dad.
Right.
And that in itself grew to become a love language, quality time. Okay. So I now have to remember, hey, my wife needs some quality time with me. It's not always, all right, she in the bedroom, I outside by the laptop doing whatever. It's not always that. It's sometimes, hey, babe, okay, I want to watch a movie. Sometimes if it's a Lifetime movie, I don't want to watch. I go sit down with you and I go watch the Lifetime movie with you.
Right.
You understand? Just to make sure that you can say, yeah, there's quality time. Outside of going out and this, that, and the other, there is that, okay, we're spending that family time. We're spending that husband and wife time.
I would like to add on that, because another thing about love languages is that they change. Okay. Because for me, as a woman who had a child, 2 children, now my love language is not the same as it was before, because now, you put on a little waist here and there. Okay, now I need words of affirmation, whereas before it might have been gifts. Or now I have children to see about, I have this to do, that to do. Now I need a little quality time. Put the children away. Before it might have been something else. So to think that, okay, well, I know my partner's love language before you get married, they change. So you have to constantly observe the person that you're with and make sure that you know what is benefiting them now, not what benefited them before, because they do change.
I might just ask something, right? Everybody talking about love language and whatnot. I personally don't know what's a love language. You understand? Because I'm like, dog, okay, cool. What language is love? A little Hershey's or something. So I don't know what we talking about here.
What's
So
up
talk to me.
affirmation?
Give me some examples.
Well, for me, right, I think it's a fancy way of saying how somebody receives love.
Right.
So what is most beneficial to them?
Right.
What they like, what they like most, what they appreciate most. My husband, he likes me to, when I cook, he wants me to give him his food. Now, for some women, that's
ranking thing.
no,
it's arbitrary,
just
but
to give you food, get up and work and get your food, what the hell, or whatever the case may be. But that is what he likes. So what it's going to take out of me to
Pass out that little plate.
just give him me food, give him me juice. That's what he likes. Now, that's not what I want. What I want is somebody to wash up the waist. So, our love language is different. So that is just a fancy way of saying how somebody receives what is beneficial to them.
Okay.
yeah,
I think.
I agree. It's knowing, as mentioned earlier, also it's knowing when that person wants quality time. That quality time builds up there. Something I read that my aunt gave me a book. Can't remember the name of it right now. I think his and hers, something like that. And the book mentioned something about a love bank.
Right.
You deposit that money into that bank account, and there are moments you're gonna have to withdraw from it.
Right.
The quarrels at times withdraws from that love bank.
Okay.
The stresses of life sometimes withdraws from that love bank.
Okay.
And what do you do then to build up
The bank again.
that bank account again? What do you do? Okay, she likes quality time. She likes to receive words of affirmation. You like touch. You like this, you like that. Okay, how do we now come and meet in the middle and actually make that happen, along with build each other up so that there is that invested interest? You understand? Because what we get scared of saying, or what we don't say a lot of times, is that yes, the love can be there. We can cherish each other. However, interest in the significant other can decrease.
Yeah.
That sexual tension is not always going to be there. Bruh, as a man, give me my sex. It sounds how it sounds, but give me my sex. However, when things are to a point where it's like, I really need to lean on God, I really need to get this job done, or whatever the case is, sex is the furthest thing from my mind. As much as I love it, I don't want to have sex right about now. I don't want. And then your wife comes to you and she says, babe, I needed to, so and that's where you definitely have to be mindful of that. And also sometimes the situations of life itself can also cause that interest to decrease, and that's where you need to again have God at the top,
Right.
and lean on Him. You understand? And go to Him, because the human mind is a weird thing at times. Even if you're deeply in love, you know,
right.
it's a weird thing at times, and life in itself, as mentioned, life changes certain aspects
Right.
to the relationship, and that's when now it's. I heard a statement made a time about it's like university. You know, you go to university to be edified, to get that PhD, and if it is you want to further it again, you go back again to get the doctorate or whatever the case is. In marriage, it's a consistent learning curve. Every 5 years or every 2 years, it doesn't matter. However, your marriage is, but at some point you're gonna have to be like, all right, we gotta learn over something here again. Something not clicking as before. We gotta sort this out. All right, this is what has changed. All right, cool. Let me try and fix this. Let me try and meet each other in the middle. Let's do what needs to be done.
That's eye-opening.
Man could counsel me, yes?
Yeah, and speaking of counseling, would you recommend that? Would you recommend marriage counseling, or have you ever
Pre
done
and
it?
post marital counseling.
Or pre and post, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, in where I go to church, my pastor you're not getting married if you don't have
the counseling.
you have to. It's mandatory because you have to know that you know what you're getting yourself into. And I do recommend counseling. I haven't had personal sessions with just me and my husband, but there was we have this thing called marriage ministry that we go to sometimes, and there's couples and the pastor and his wife, and they have sessions, and we talk about biblical stuff and how it relates to marriage and all of that. And as you were talking about sex, one thing that I learned that I didn't know or wasn't in my mind before is that you have to put God in your sex life too. And I was like, God in the sex life. I was like,
explain that one for me.
That not making sense. But God created sex just like He created everything else. True. And He wants the sex life to be good. Is for us. He made it for this context. So we have to have enjoyable, good sex. We should be having better sex than anybody else. Because this is where it was ordained. If that making sense to everybody, right?
It is.
So He was like, God in the middle of your sex life, and I found it to be weird. But then I started to pray, not for my husband to hear, of course, silently. I said, Lord, well, the man say that we should put you in the middle of your sex life. So I pray, that you will be with us and that you'll help us to have a good sex life. And it was good before, but it got better. So that was something that I learned, and I was amazed by it. But just
grace before meals then.
Grace before meals.
Yeah.
Basically. And even if you're having a problem, people have issues in their sex life, it might be good and things change. So, Lord, this is the issue with our sex life. Help us, and the Lord is here and answer prayer. The Lord is here and answer prayer.
But that is in the marriage settings. That is not for...
No, I'm just saying what I learned.
I was going to try that one, Jassy.
So,
I don't practice premarital sex.
Stop the cap.
Yeah.
Yes, to add to that, yes, I agree in counseling, being counseled. It is important, it is necessary, and I was scared when we went counseling, because the one thing I told the pastor, Jassy knows the pastor.
Who's the pastor?
But you know the pastor.
Oh, go ahead.
Your dad.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay.
But
yeah, it's true. Silly me.
But I was straightforward. I said, hey, pastor, if it is we're not meant to be, let us know.
Yeah.
I said, if we're not meant to be, and it's not about giving the pastor that power to cancel out, all the years of experience and whatnot. But we were upfront about everything. And at the end of it all, I was like, Pastor, you're sure? He was like, listen, if I wasn't sure, what I tell you. And he gave us an experience of telling a couple they didn't listen, and they went ahead with marriage and divorced quickly. And for me, it's to take heed, and it's not to go to any and everybody, because I also believe in counseling that is outside of a pastor's domain. Because
a psychologist,
like a psychologist and whatnot, because a pastor may have studied psychology and whatnot, but he is still applying that theological aspect or that biblical aspect to his understanding of what marriage should be and this and the other. And for me, there is a limit to how much he or she is going to advise because of, okay, we're approaching this from that Christian perspective and mindset, whereas also adding that outside voice and somebody, yes, that can be Christian minded, but at the end of the day, who is not in that position of a pastor or the other, who is willing to give you even much more brutal advice or honesty and say, well, I need to fix this or I need to do that. It's all on the decline. This and the other. So I believe in that.
You do think that all fall under post-marital counseling?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, as I keep reiterating, I'm not married and not engaged or anything, but I understand the importance of counseling, and I think what a lot of couples feel. Remember the statistics I gave earlier, with the 51%, right? I believe those couples do not go to counseling after they are married. You understand? And sometimes they really need that outside eye looking in, well, unbiased as well, to point out some flaws that you mightn't see.
Yeah.
Because if you ever had therapy with a seasoned therapist now, they will dig up some stuff that you never thought was affecting you, So I'm an advocate for that, as much as I sound radical and things sometimes, but I'm really an advocate for that. And it's good to hear that you all have had that, and that, well, along with the relationship with God, is what pushing it forward now. So I really happy, really glad that I know you guys, anytime I have my issues in the future, I come to you all.
And as y'all are young, I would like to ask y'all, to wrap up, the benefits of young marriage or early marriage. People want to wait till they 40,
the eggs dry up and thing.
What is the benefits? Why you think that are the benefits of young marriage?
What would I say there are benefits?
Or advice to people that want to get married young?
Seek counsel, and first seek counsel from God if you're going to be married young, because I got married at 23.
Married long time,
and I remember praying to God because I started to get the feeling you want to propose to this girl. And I was like, hey, I'm not jumping on that just like that. You understand? And I started to pray to God. And there was a Saturday morning, I got up. It's always like one of those movies, and I love sharing the testimony, but I got up and I literally told my parents, I said, hey, I hearing God tell me to go to our first home church, because I was born in Port of Spain General. We raised there until about 4, and we moved to San Fernando because my dad is originally from San Fernando. So San Fernando is the hometown, but I connect with Port of Spain also. And I said, hey, I'm going back to our first ever home church, Mova STA. I just go in. And they were like, okay, no problem. Went to church, and literally the pastor was preaching about Adam finding his Eve. And breaking down scripture for us and digging into the word. And I was just like, all right, God.
That is the sign.
That's the sign. The Sunday morning, woke up and told my parents, hey, when I'm proposed to Alyssa.
Okay.
Mom
didn't buy the ring yet. Crazy.
Mom dropped the wares in shock. She was like, what do you mean you're gonna propose? You're 22, going on 23, I mean, I was like, no, I God answered my prayer, and I wanna be married to her. And for me, that was the first set of counseling that I sought out, which was God first. Sometimes, yes, it's good to go to parents, and that's a blessing. But for me, the thing about it is, what I thank my parents for is that they built in us to understand we need to have our own, especially my mother, have your personal relationship and a personal experience with God. Because she was she like to say, when God come, you old enough where he not gonna ask me what it is you do with my child I give you, you know. He gonna ask you what you do with your life.
Yeah.
You understand? So she was like, have that personal experience with him. And that was where I went to him first. And then, of course, when doing the proposal, going to counseling and then getting married and whatnot. So for me, I would say 19 is a little too young, but there are people who have made it work.
Yeah,
you know?
I actually know some.
You know, there are people who have made it work.
19?
19, yeah, and married
19,
10 years,
18. There are people who have...
Some married. I know someone, my neighbor, she's married. She married at 19 and they together. Well, they married 24 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, so for me, I wouldn't really down on the age as much. You know, there's benefits, of course, to being older and, you know, where your finances are at and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's all about honestly going to God first.
Yeah.
Seeking him out first to make sure you make the right decision.
Yeah.
What you asked about the benefits,
what's your advice to young people?
no, well, I wanted to say one thing that when you get married young, you're able to build together, as he was talking about business, and you're able to build together in a way that people who are older, they come in established, you know, and they have, you want this one wants a prenup because this is my stuff and that is your stuff. And when you get married young, you're able to build together. Of course, there are more struggles, certain struggles that couples that have it together won't have, but you're able to build together in a different way. And one advice that I would give is, as I said, is a choice. If you feel like you want to get married to the person that you're with, is a lifelong choice and decision. And you have to make up your mind that you're going to go through thick or thin, and there will be issues. Because you see us sitting here and we highlighting, you know, it still sounds very good, but there's still issues, and I'm still learning. I'm sure he's still learning. It's a constant thing of just learning the person that you're with, going through arguments and struggles and issues, and there's a lot of good times, but it's an everyday thing. So if you know that you're unable with too much pressure, leave it alone for now, because especially the earlier years is a learning curve. So it's a lot of tough times and saying, you see this thing, I know if I'm able with this thing. I had those times, so I say, you see this man? Because it is that hard, but you have to go through and continue to go through and make up your mind from now.
And if I could punch this in, definitely find someone that is supportive. Supportive of what you do. Because that was a big fear for me. Remember, I jumped into music wholeheartedly, and I needed somebody that would be supportive of my ministry, supportive of what I do, because I was like, God, I don't want to get anybody that's going to just suck the life out of me and suck the creative aspect out of me to the point where I can't do it anymore, you know. I was like, God, I need somebody that is going to be supportive. And I thank God daily for my wife. You know, because there are moments that are tough, and she would sit with me and be like, babe, I can't keep it in anymore this month or so on. So it's been a little tough for whatever the case is, but I am here. You know, like you know, not trying to put in a shameless plug or anything, but like the song that I just released, Jassy, I had no way of doing that song. And she was there literally pushing me and saying, you could get it done, you could get it done. Come, we go do what we had to do. You understand? Thing or whatever. When it was time to go studio, she was like, all right, here's what we limited on funds right now for you to travel, but here's what. Take this. Go. Go and record and do what you had to do, because I believe that you have to get the song out and whatnot. So you need to have somebody that is supportive, that is there for you. You need that.
I just wanted to add on that as well. When my husband got into his accident, I had to leave my work. I was employed for 5 years, and I left because we had 2 kids now. both of them, my daughter was almost 2 and my son was a newborn, and it was in the middle of COVID. So daycare is closed. I didn't have anybody trustworthy. So we had to make the decision for me to leave. And I had to gain a whole new level of trust, because although I trusted him, I was like, okay, wait, I'm going to leave my work. So now I don't have my own money coming in. So I had to
totally depend on him now.
Grow this level of trust. I said, okay, this man is not going to leave you hanging. He loves you. He's going to take care of you. God put him here to... This is what this marriage is about. This is what it's about. You taking care of him, and he's going to take care of you. And it was a thing of me just saying, okay, and leaping, trusting him. And I haven't been working. He gave me my money. I opened my business. And like, I don't have that, the worry I had in the beginning in the back of my mind, because I ain't going to tell him, so I ain't gonna come and ask you for no money, because he'll be like, what happened to you, girl? We don't operate like that. Why you would be thinking like that? So the fear I had, it was gone away, because he proved to me time and time again that he had me, and I didn't have anything to worry about. So that goes to show, although we were married and I knew he would take care of me, it's still a level of trust that I didn't have for him that I had to gain because of the situation that we were now in. So I wanted to add that onto what he was saying.
Okay, just wrap it up first. Just wrap it up.
Well, I think they wrapped it up well, you know.
Nah, it was powerful.
Yeah, boy, because I really impressed with both you guys with the testimonies, because I feel to get married in the morning, just find a bird and start this thing. I think that's what we are about right now. You understand? No, honestly, it's really good to see young folks in their 20s, because both of you all are in your 20s. You understand? And you all had plenty experiences in what other, how to put it, very old heads will say, you all now start the journey, but you all have some powerful experiences, because all them old heads never went through a marriage during COVID. Like, be real, most of them, like if not all, never see a pandemic. My grandmother passed away and never witnessed no pandemic, the big Spanish flu in the early 1900s and COVID. You understand? So it's like, you all really championing marriage to me. And
for young people,
yeah. So I am all for this. I hope this episode is the most viewed one because it really gives some insights. Both of you all with your powerful testimonies, both of you all with the testimonies and experiences, the same thing. You know, these kind of things. And I believe this is one of, in my opinion, Like Minds podcast best episode. So thank you all both for coming. I'll leave. Is it okay if I could put your IGs in the description and what? Well, it will be hovering on the screen at the beginning. But I mean, like, just for people to, I guess, speak to you all if they want to. You know, Kadeen, you told me you just launched a business. I'll definitely promote it on any day. Well, you know, High Entertainment with you, we're already going to promote his new single and his record label as well. So, yeah, guys, thank you for another episode of Like Minds podcast.
Alright, guys, it's your boy Kibre from Like Minds podcast. Hope you're enjoying the content so far. Let us know your thoughts, let us know your likes, your dislikes, continue to like, share, and subscribe and support us.